Hello friends, welcome to my channel. In my previous video I have explained this Ansible concept and architecture. So this is the continuous explanation in the Ansible. So as I mentioned to you, you can have the Ansible configuration. So what the Ansible configuration hold? The information is Ansible has the configuration settings that defines how it behaves. These settings include such things as the remote user to execute the command and password with sudo and so on. For example, as I mentioned to you, ansible.cfg tell to your Ansible where is the inventory file, which user you are using to connect with your remote server. It will be a sudo or it will be a su method to connect. So all those global configuration comes from the ansible.cfg, which is called Ansible configuration. By default, ansible.cfg will be available inside your /etc ansible.cfg. Then there is another one is called host inventory. So it defines which configuration groups host belongs to. I will let you know how to create the inventory and how you can group your multiple hosts into a one single group. It can define how Ansible communicates with a managed host or group of hosts. So you have to mention your host name or the IP address inside the inventory so that your Ansible can use that particular inventory file to execute the playbooks or the tasks. As I mentioned to you, there are three types of modules. One is called core modules, one is called custom modules, and one is called extra modules. So core modules are the module that come bundled with the Ansible, and there are over 400. This is the previous calculation, but I believe nowadays is more than 1000. So these are the more than 1000 of the core modules built by the Ansible core team, and they are available as a bundle when you install the Ansible. There is also the custom modules. User can extend Ansible functionality by writing their own modules and adding them to the Ansible library. For example, you are going to do something but your module is not available as per your requirement. So what you can do, if you are a developer or you have the knowledge about the Python, you can create your own module and you can add that module into the Ansible, so which called is the Ansible library. So you have to add your module inside the Ansible library and that module will be available to consume by the Ansible. There is another module is called extra module. So extra module is created and managed by the Ansible open source community, not by the core team member. And there are lot of the extra modules like your Windows modules, your network modules, your firewall modules for the F5 and so on. There's a playbook. So playbook means the Ansible playbooks are files written in YAML syntax that defines the modules with the arguments to apply. Like as I mentioned to you, I would like to install and configure the Apache HTTPD. I also want to start the Apache HTTPD service. I also want to open the firewall ports for the Apache like port number 80 and 443. So how you will do that? So I will mention all these tasks into a play, and that play will be in a file, and that file will become a playbook. There is a connection plugin. So how your Ansible is going to connect with the remote host. So plugins that enable the communication with the managed host or the cloud provides. So if you have the like Linux and Unix, by default Ansible use the SSH, but what will happen if you have the Windows environment as well? So there are another connection plugin like WinRM. WinRM is used by the Ansible to connect with the Windows systems. You can also add your own plugin to enhance the functionality of the Ansible. Okay, Ansible software is installed on the control node because there are two types of node. One is the control node and one is the manage host. Ansible configuration file are also maintained on the control node. So all the playbooks, your inventory file, modules and so on, all will be the part of control node. A machine acting as a control node must have Python 2.6, not lower than Python 2.6 or 2.7 installed. So you can have the upgraded version of Python like 2.6, 2.7. Nowadays, while writing this particular playbook or the like video recording, 3.7 Python is available, and there is a 2.9 something Ansible is available, so that is also support the Python 3. But if you are using the like Ansible version 2.3 or 2.4 something, you must have at least Python 2.6 in your system, not lower than the 2.6. This include the Linux OS, Mac and BSD flavors as well. Windows is not supported for the control node at this time, so you cannot have the control node, Ansible control node on the Windows system, right? You have to be on the Linux or Unix flavor. A managed host is a system that Ansible logs into, install the module, execute the remote command to perform the configuration tasks. And Ansible use the SSH to communicate with the managed host. So the SSH must be installed and configured to allow incoming connections. Remember that over the firewall if you are using. Managed host must have Python 2.4 or later version, because as I mentioned to you, Ansible modules are written in Python. So Python is a dependency to use the Ansible in your environment. So on the control node, you should have Python 2.6 or later version. But if you are managing your system through Ansible, so that managed node should have Python 2.4 or later. Which include Red Hat Enterprise Linux 7, 6, 5, CentOS or other Linux flavors. The Python simple JSON package must also be installed on Red Hat Enterprise Linux 5 especially. Remember that if you are using the Enterprise Linux 5, you should have or you must have installed this package. That is a dependency of the Python to manage your EL5 Linux operating system with the Ansible. When administrator think of Ansible, one thing that comes to mind is the configuration management. Yes, like for example Apache HTTPD configuration, your FTP configuration and so on. Ansible can deploy and manipulate the configuration file of a remote host. Yes, the file can be static or created on the fly. Static means you can have a file statically created on your control node and you can copy that file to your remote host. On the fly means you can write a Jinja 2 template and you can render that template over the network to the remote host. So host specific information can come on the fly. So template can help you to manage the more than like one system at a time. Like if you want to configure the Apache web server on 10 number of nodes, so host name and IP addresses can become on the fly by using the Jinja 2 templates. So Ansible can also use the multi-node deployment tool. Like playbook can define the application that are installed and configured on remote machines. A playbook can be applied to the multiple machines, building them all in the consistent manner. So these are the few use cases. One of the Ansible strength is how it simplifies the configuration of the softwares on servers. So when Ansible accesses the managed host, it can discover the OS version running on the remote server. As I mentioned to you, when Ansible connect with the remote server, actually it gather the facts. Facts mean the OS stats, like what the OS name is, the OS version is, the CPU, memory, network interface, disk and so on. So all the stats it's gathered from the remote server and comes to the Ansible node. Ansible playbook can be used to consistently build the development, test and production server, and Kickstart can get bare metal server running enough to let Ansible overtake and build from them further. So as I mentioned to you, Ansible cannot provision your bare metal system. You cannot have the Ansible to install the operating system, but once the operating system has been provisioned by using the kickstart or some other mechanism or method, then you can hand over the further configuration part to the Ansible, and all those things can be taken care by the Ansible later. But provisioning you have to do by using some PXE and some like other method. Ansible is commonly used to finish provisioning application server. For example, a playbook can be written to perform the following steps. Like for example, configuring the software repository. You don't have the software repository like yum repository in your system. It can add the repositories in your system, then install the application, then tune the configuration, then open the firewall ports, then start the relevant services and test the application is running or not, and then it will execute all those tasks and let you know all the task has been done, and this is through the Ansible. So this is the way, and in this particular video series we are going to do the hands-on, the practice and configuration. As I mentioned to you, for the Ansible plugin allow Ansible to communicate with the manage host. So by default is the SSH plugin. If you want to manage your local host as well, there is a local connection plugin. Like I also want to manage the same node where my Ansible is installed. So instead of using the SSH, I can use the local name of the connection plugin. So it will not call the SSH, it will use the loopback to manage the control node as well. A paramiku connection plugin is also available and used on the Enterprise Linux 6 machines if you have, because paramiku is a supporting Python plugin for the SSH connections. Like if you are using the RHEL 5 and RHEL 6 or the Enterprise Linux 5 and Enterprise Linux 6, OpenSSH doesn't have the control persist connection functionality or feature to persist the connection. So it was a connection solution for the older system where the version of the OpenSSH did not implement the control persist connection settings. So by installing the paramiku or by using the paramiku connection plugin, you can also manage your Enterprise Linux 6 operating system. What the control persist function? It is a settings allows for the persistent SSH connections, a feature that improve Ansible performance by eliminating SSH connections overread. So for example, you have mentioned multiple tasks inside your playbook. So every time your system is going to log into the remote server and execute the task. So what the control persist do? It will open the particular connection for a time. So during that time, if you are coming and going, it will not close that particular connection. So it will eliminate the overhead of the SSH connection while using the multiple SSH command are executed by the Ansible. So this is the whole information. So I believe now you know what the Ansible is and what the Ansible architecture. In my next video, I will show you how you can install the Ansible on a Linux node and you can start using the Ansible to manage your host. So if you have any question and concern in this particular topic, please comment on my video so that I can reply to you. If not, move to my next video. See you there. Thank you.